Today I'm really excited. We got a chance. We're kicking off a new course, and we wanted to tell you a little bit about it. And the name of our course is a foundational approach to leadership and career planning. And the instructor for our course is a good friend of mine, and a guy that I've really come to know a little bit and really admire for the things that he's done in his life and his outlook on life. And I'm really excited to have him with me today. And our instructor's name is Gregg Morton. So, Greg, how are you? Good to see
Hey,
you.
Mark, it's good to see you. It's been a while.
It
Good to
has
see
been a while. I'm hoping someday we get together in person
you.
again, but this will have to
These
do
are
for a bit.
difficult times for everyone.
So just so everybody knows, Greg's a former Citi executive. He's now our lead instructor and our mentor and coach for our new program. And in this little talk, we're going to just, have you guys have a chance to get to know Greg a little bit and tell you a little bit about our program as well. So, Greg, you're retired now, but you're not really retired. You just retired from your corporate gig. Can you talk a little bit about that? Tell me what you're doing to keep busy and what you're working on.
Yeah, I have been keeping busy, Mark. I left Citi last year. I had just turned 60. Actually, it was on my 60th birthday. Is the day that I announced formally that I was retiring. And probably like a lot of people, my wife and I kind of took some time right after my last day at Citi and traveled a little bit. We had already had that on the calendar, but we took some time and traveled. And then very consciously, I said, I'm just not going to have a calendar. I'm just going to see what it feels like not to have any real obligations. And so for, I don't know, a couple of months, I really didn't do a whole lot at all, not structured.
Right.
And at the end of the year, I did some things that I've been very passionate about, and it's golf related. As we get into the course, people will hear me reference golf in a lot of ways. But and I'm not a big player. I don't play very much. I really love the game of golf. I love everything that it means. And it really has become a metaphor for my life and a lot of other activities that I'm involved in. So I started volunteering for the PGA Tour and traveled around and with the different tournaments and was a marshal, transportation committee, moving players from one place to the course to the next. And then, at the end of the year, the golf tour comes to Florida, and I started following the golf tour around Florida. And actually, when the shutdown occurred, I was in Jacksonville at the Tournament Players Championship the day literally they shut everything down. And so that kind of ended that. But so golf is working at golf and being around golf has been a big part of my retirement. On a more, probably more formal note, there were a few things that I was doing that I did kind of bring together. One was in small business finance. I met my accountant and I had an idea around how I could help small business people, whether I invest directly into their company or kind of mentor them through their business model. And he suggested, an opportunity around doing direct lending, because a lot of small business is very difficult for them to get lending. And if they can get lending, then they pay a real premium to banks. So kind of started doing that. And then, finally, something I've been doing for quite a while, and that is thoroughbred racehorses. And last year I started on the breeding side as well as the racing side. So I really have invested heavily, both time and money, because that's kind of a loss loser in the horse business. And so I've been around the horses a lot since I've retired as well. So all of that being said, it's kind of been the golf, it's kind of been the horses, it's been a little bit working on this with you and consulting on that. and then finally in the finance field, which I know about, direct lending, and that's just getting started. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, Greg. No, that's like I said. You've been I know you were busy and very busy, and all really interesting stuff. And I know part of what we talked about when we were developing this course is, and part of it, I'm just going to be honest. I think you're just being extremely modest. But you talked about, you know, that you feel like you are, you've had an extraordinary career, but you not are necessarily an extraordinary individual. And part of that, that's why I think you're just being modest. But I think, part of that is the way you set yourself up for your career. And I know we're going to weave that into the class. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I could go on, and I don't want to kind of do the whole 1 hour course in our discussion, Mark. But I think I do, and I'm not trying to be, overtly humble or anything like that. But I do feel very ordinary. I mean, I've worked with thousands and thousands of people throughout my career in a leadership role, and I'm not special at all. And I face the same kind of dilemmas and paradoxes in life that everybody I work with. One of the things, and I think you can relate to this, a lot of people that I work with at the beginning of their career, they almost start with a dilemma in their career because the degree that they got in college, if they finished college, or things that they had trained to do, really are not the jobs that they ended up in. And they feel almost like blocked at the very beginning. And I had those very same things. I was a political science major, and my graduate work was in public administration. And I was ultimately going to go to law school and then be a politician or work in the government side. And I've not done that at all. So, and again, so at the very beginning, I had the same kind of dilemmas facing me. And, but there were some things very early on that I became aware of, and I worked on those things. And those are the type of things we're going to talk about in the course, and some tools related to that. I just found a lot of commonality with people along the way, where my story wasn't unique, it wasn't special. But what made the life extraordinary was that I feel like I've had a sense of control my whole career.
Yeah.
And that control is very, very powerful. And, you said, well, you've had an extraordinary career. I really like to think about, I've just had an extraordinary life, because for the vast majority of it, I've been really, really happy and having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's just having control, and it goes a long way. And I see a lot of people also who don't feel in control. And I think those are the kind of things that we can talk about and maybe learn some tools in dealing with that.
Yeah, no, Greg, thanks for sharing that. I know that's one of the things that you truly believe in, that as you reflected back, as you were saying, that it was because of that control that you found yourself being happy through times, and you're most productive, which I think is important as well, right?
It is. It's because again, you fall off the wagon. I mean, the things we're going to talk about in the class, it's all about creating behaviors and habits, for lack of a better word, and the discipline to put these tools into play. But I'm not perfect either, and you do stray. You do get back into bad habits. And having a way to recognize that and get back on the wagon, so to speak, is just as important as a straight line. Because I think most people can relate. Life is not a straight line.
Yeah.
And so when you do veer off course, what's the mechanism to help get you back on course? And so it's those type of tools and those types of mechanisms that we'll talk about and work on in the class. And it is very customized, though, Mark, because it gets down to who you are or who that person is. It's not about Greg. It's not about the person sitting on the left or right. It's not about Mark, but it's about you and what's your approach because you're the only one that can be in control of you.
Yeah, and again, it's one of the things that I'm excited about with this class, and it's certainly the conversations that we've had have made me kind of rethink some of the decisions I made and reflect back on my life, and even the things that I want to change to move forward. And so I've had fun helping, as we're going through this and designing the course. It's been extremely meaningful for me. And I know that the people that sign up for it are going to just find it invaluable. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the mechanics of the course, and then maybe we'll just end it after that, Greg. And
Okay.
so what I understand is the way the course is going to work is that there'll be a session prior to the course, a very short one, maybe 30 to 45-minute phone call with you. Well, you'll get a chance to get to know who the potential student is or who the student is, and they'll get a chance to see who you are and talk about their plan a bit. Then there's going to be a few course sessions where there'll be more group sessions where you're going to kind of go through some of these methods and these things that have worked for you over your lifetime. And then there'll be a second course after that where there'll be some mentoring and coaching sessions. But just talking about the first course, can you just talk a little bit about that, Greg? Some of the things that you want to, just maybe give a preview on.
Yeah, and I'll touch on them briefly, just kind of in sequence, Mark. But first, it's important for me certainly to get to know, even though we're doing it in a class setting, kind of what each individual person is looking to get out of this. And then the desire is to, as I'm listening and understanding, then I can incorporate that into the discussions that we have during the classwork. And then if we have an opportunity at the end or go down the road together even more, then I'll know more in terms of how to direct the feedback that I'm giving. And one of the things that I do want everybody who's considering a course to think about is the answers are going to come from you. It's not going to come from me. I'm going to generate a lot of questions. I've got a framework or a paradigm that you can work from, but it really is going to be a self-development related to using these tools in this paradigm, because I don't have all the answers for you. I don't have it for Mark. I don't have it for the student. So I want to get to know who they are as best as I can in a short period of time. Incorporate that. And then also give an opportunity to embed that in the development work going forward. Yeah. And then, over the three sessions that we have, it's a very simple model. The very first part of this is it kind of starts with why. Who am I, and what am I kind of bringing to the table? And then in the second session, it is what is it that I want. What is it that I want out of my career, out of my life, out of this course, so to speak? And then the third session is how do I go about getting it? So it really gets to the core of who you are and mechanisms around self-assessment. And then secondly, truly defining at an appropriate level, what is it that I am looking to achieve or looking to go after? And then third, how do I really start to articulate that into a meaningful plan with, I think we have common language around what are my goals, what are my near-term goals, what are my long-term goals, those kind of things, and then putting that into action.
Well, Greg, like I said, I'm very excited about the launch of this course. I'm excited to go tell people about it. I'm just especially grateful to you and to be able to work with you on this. And again, I might be one of your first students in a more formal way, just because I've loved the context of the things we've talked about and how it's made me think about things. So anyway, thanks for joining me today and for being part of this. And we'll talk again.
Great, thank you, Mark, and hopefully I get to meet a lot of people who are watching this video cast. Thank you.